Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. Just move this up just a little bit. That's fine. Anyways, what I wanted to do today is I wanted to talk to you about an interesting 5-year period. I want to talk about the years 1976 to 1981. The reason I want to talk about this period is it was a period of high inflation. It was a period where the Federal Reserve came out and tried to rein in inflation. It was a time for wage inflation. And most importantly for this channel, we are going to talk about what happened to real estate. We're also going to peel apart and pick at several assumptions that a lot of other channels talk about. So again, what I've done is I peeled 5 years out of my 50-year spreadsheet. If you want to get the whole 50-year spreadsheet, down below in the courses, either my paid or free course, just go to the bonus section. It is all there for you. So let's go first and let's talk about 1976. So 1976, the average 30-year mortgage, folks, any guesses what you think it might be? Well, it is 8.87%. Yes, folks, in 1976, you or your parents, grandparents maybe, their interest rate for 30-year money was 8.87%. Now, to remember CPI, Consumer Price Index, it was hot, not as hot as today, but it was hot. It was 5.74%. So again, 30-year money was above inflation. Sometimes we talk about real and nominal. So if you subtract 5 from 8, you get a real rate of 3%. Today, what is this? 4%. This is 7%. We have negative rates today, folks. Negative rates today. More on that later. So let's talk about the average house. The average house cost. This number is hard to believe, but remember, folks, this is 1976. 1976, the average house was $33,693. Rest assured, folks, in my 50-year spreadsheet, there is a tab that talks about the sources. So if you want to go look at the sources, download the spreadsheet, build your own spreadsheet, have some fun with it. Just for grins, the appreciation of housing that year, 5.2%. Again, real versus nominal. Nominal, 5.2. Subtract CPI, you actually do have negative appreciation. Again, these are all real numbers to talk about. Let's talk about the average family's median income in 1976. It was $12,685. Hard to believe, folks, but the average family was making $1,000 a month in 1976. Yeah, that's hard to believe. How about wages? Wage inflation. Wage inflation that year, 7.5%. Remember CPI way up here? You actually had real wage growth, right? Inflation 5, wages 7. You, the worker, were making money. Today, CPI 7.5, wages 5%. Today, you're losing. In 76, you are winning. And just because a lot of people watch the stock market, the S&P 500 was a whopping 97 in 1976. So again, that is the setup. Now let's go back and look at what happened in 1981. First, 1981, interest rates, 30-year mortgage, folks, have fun signing this one, was 16.64%. That's double. Folks, interest rates on the 30-year mortgages went up 800 basis points. And also, just stop right here. I bought a bigger whiteboard. I bought bigger pens. They're coming. So hopefully next week we'll have a big whiteboard. but this is what I got today. So 16.64%. That's crazy. So again, remember what everybody tells you. Rates go up 1%. Housing crashes 10%. Housing is supposed to crash 80% in this example. We'll see if it does in a moment. How about CPI? Remember we talk about all this inflation getting worse? CPI went up to, where is it? 10.3%. CPI was 10.3%. That's 5 years of inflation. That's the Fed not doing their job. They eventually did their job, but it took years and years and years. How about housing? Housing was 59,034. Housing went up, what is that? $26,000 in 5 years. Pretty crazy. Next, we have appreciation. That year was 7.2%. So again, we had some housing appreciation. We had 7% appreciation even though interest rates went up. That's not supposed to be normal, right? That's what everybody tells you. Well, they're wrong. Wage increase. Wages went to $19,073. So instead of making $1,000 a month, you were now making $1,500 a month as an average family. Wage increase was 7.7%. And just so we have it, we have the S&P 500 was at 133. So now let's go back and look at some averages and some information in here. Excuse me. So the average mortgage rate over 5 years was 11.49. The average for a 5-year period was 300 basis points higher than the beginning. If you just take the average, housing is supposed to go down 30%. The average CPI was a crazy 9.17%. The Fed did not do their job, and I'm afraid they are not going to do their job again. So be careful. Housing went up 75%. Housing went up 75% when interest rates went up 800 basis points. People are telling you today, if rates go up 1%, housing will crash 10%. Ask them to explain how housing went up 75% when interest rates went up 80% or 800 basis points. There must be something else, and I keep telling you, it's wages. Next, the average appreciation was 10.8% over 5 years. Again, interest rates went up every year. Appreciation went up about 10% a year. Wages. The wages went up 50% in 5 years. In 5 years, interest or your wages went up 50%. The average wage increase was 8.3%. 8.3%. And then the gain in the stock market was 37% in 5 years. So again, folks, we live in a payment-based world. It is about payment. In this example, wages went up 50%, housing went up 75%, and the average 30-year went up 30%, or went up 300 basis points, excuse me. So again, what else happened in this time frame? Transactions fell. Real estate transactions were cut in half. But cutting a real estate transaction in half does not mean prices fall. It means housing slowdown. Days on market could go to 6 months. They will still transact. A housing slowdown means less transactions, longer days on market. It does not mean housing crash. Just because 30-year rates go from 4 to 5 to 6, it does not necessarily mean housing crash. Look at wages. Wages could explode. The average rate of a wage was up 8.3%. If wages keep going up, the math says we can afford more. Folks, there is so much value in the 50-year spreadsheet. This is only a 5-year period. Get it? It's in the link below. Sign up for the course, do the work, join the channel, subscribe, like, comment, and have a wonderful March 1st. Bye-bye.